Good morning, boys and girls. It is December 6th, which means that it is St. Nicholas Day. Now, what I've realized is that not a lot of people actually know about St. Nicholas Day, so I thought I'd do a little explanation of what St. Nicholas Day is, where we get Santa Claus, all the rest of that kind of thing. And why, in my personal opinion, St. Nicholas Day is a far better day to celebrate than doing the whole stockings thing on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or whatever. So, with that said, so back in, what was it, about 240 or something, it's kind of contested when he was born, but in about 240 or 270 AD, a man named Nicholas was born in the Roman Empire, in what is modern day Turkey, in a town called Myra. He became known later on as St. Nicholas of Myra, but he was a bishop in the Christian church, or as it was back then. He was known as the patron saint during that period of time there's a whole list actually. It's sailors, children, merchants, prostitutes, brewers, and archers. How he got all of those, beyond me. But there are a couple of stories that kind of feed into this and kind of relate to the whole Santa Claus mythology. The first one is the gift giving, the selflessness. So there was a man who was in debt. He had 3 daughters, and so he had no dowry for these daughters. They couldn't get married off to good families, whatever. They couldn't get married off because at that time you needed a dowry in order to find a husband as a woman. And then because of their father's debt, they would have been sold into slavery, essentially. And so Nicholas snuck, the story goes, snuck by their house in the middle of the night and threw, on 3 separate occasions, and threw bags of gold in through the window, which, according to legend, landed in their stockings or shoes or whatever that they had laying out in front of the fire to dry. And so that's kind of where the whole stockings aspect of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus comes from. And then as far as children was concerned, there was a horrible man in a village that had kidnapped a bunch of children and dismembered them and pickled them and put them in a basement. And St. Nicholas, Bishop Nicholas, apparently was able to sense this and then also revivify the children and bring them back to life. Anyway, so that was great. But that is where he became patron saint of those various things came from. He died in 340 AD on December 6th or December 9th if you're still using the older calendars. Anyways, but December 6th for us. So that became like a day of feasting and stuff, and you'd celebrate the patron saint of all of those things I just mentioned. Fast forward to the Protestant Reformation in the 1500s. At that point, saints are no longer really in, because the whole Catholic Church and all the rest of that kind of stuff kind of left a bad taste in the mouth of many Protestants. There's a joke in there somewhere, I'm not going to make it. Anyway, so St. Nicholas ended up kind of being kicked out. And actually, according to some sources I was able to find, Martin Luther actually changed what was originally Der Heilige Nikolaus in Germany into Der Heilige Christ, which was this baby-like Christ figure that would give presents and stuff. But it was missing something, because at that time, Sinterklaas and all the rest of these different versions of Santa Claus or St. Nicholas had kind of spread throughout Germany, and they had kind of taken on various characteristics of Norse gods and stuff like that, where they had big beards and they had some magical abilities. And so, but they also would punish at the same time. And so that you couldn't exactly have the baby Jesus punishing people because that was a weird juxtaposition. So he needed helpers. And the Germans, being ever clever individuals, came up with Rue Claus, which was rough Klaus, Ashen Klaus, which was ashy Nicholas, and Pelznickel, which was furry Nicholas, which we'll get to in a second. But these characters would accompany the baby Jesus. So the baby Jesus would bring you gifts, and then these other characters would, if you were bad, would give you whippings or they'd perform kidnappings for bad children. So good times. But so this went on, and it ended up changing, and it was a whole bunch of political changings throughout from like the 1500s on in Russia and stuff. They ended up creating their own version of it, which he had like a blue uniform, and his furs ended up kind of becoming changed, and so that he was like old man with furry suit that was red, and so it was like a combination of like the original Saint Nicholas with like the furry or fur-wearing Saint Nicholas from Germany. Krampus ended up getting involved at some point, so on and so forth. Sinterklaas was Netherlands, and he used to bring chocolates and leave them in the clogs of good children. Anyways, but what really was kind of the switch, because in the U.S., once all these things came over to the U.S., there was this change where now Santa Claus had this wagon that was pulled by one reindeer, and he'd go around, he'd fly around at night and deliver presents. However, in about 1822, Clement Clark Moore ended up writing The Night Before Christmas. And in it, he describes, for the first time, St. Nicholas as this fat, jolly old man, old elf, as he puts him, and also has 8 tiny reindeer. And he rides a sleigh. Anyways, and so from that point on, his image has changed, and it just continued to change from there until we got our modern day Santa Claus. And it just kind of kept on getting further and further away. Oh yeah, also the whole like baby Jesus coming and delivering gifts versus Santa Claus that they did back in the Protestant Reformation, that moved the celebration from December 6th to more near Christmas. So December 6th kind of washed by the wayside. So I would encourage you to do some more research. It's a lot of fun. Like that's why we have gold coins in our stockings, oftentimes gold chocolate coins and that kind of stuff. Not the real gold coins, because mom and dad keep those buried in the backyard still. But anyway, and there's there's symbolism behind the mandarin orange and all the rest of this kind of stuff. Really fascinating to look into. Highly recommended. But yeah, that's kind of the history of Santa Claus and St. Nicholas. And so, yeah, with that, I wish you the happiest of St. Nicholas days and a very Merry Christmas. Peace out.